Okay.
Nearly a snake is what's good. I'm gonna stay on.
That on. Item.
Yeah. So that.
Good. Celebrate Saturday when the weather wasn't crazy.
Are you? Are you?
So, item number 2, the infrastructure agenda. Ms. Leslie, it's actually a minute. Okay, it's a minute.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, hello, Charles.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I see the Astros hat.
What's that?
Miles.
Yeah, what? Oh,
Miles is wearing his Astros hat.
Oh, okay.
So, what do you think of the prospects of being in the division with the Nationals? Hello, Miles. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Public Improvements and Infrastructure Committee meeting. Notice the meeting was properly posted Thursday, April 9th, 2020. Should be noted that Mr. Dotson and Mr. Davidson are participating by video conference. Because of that, item number 1 is discussion of possible action to set the date, time, and place of meeting. Will reconvene in the event technical difficulties arise during the course of this meeting. It cannot be corrected within a maximum of 30 minutes. I'm open to suggestions.
how do you feel about sometime after the emergency response committee today? I mean, I think we've been rather successful, and we haven't had any problems with system dropping completely. So now that I've said that, we probably will. But I think just
1 o'clock-ish. We've been running about an hour. And
How about 1:30? How does that sound?
is
is
Charles.
that a motion?
Okay. Motion by Mr. Davis or Mr. Dotson for 1:30. Miles, are you seconding that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second by Mr. Davidson. All in favor? Blau, aye.
Aye.
Dotson,
Aye.
Davidson, aye. 3-0. Item 2 is discussion of possible action to approve the minutes Monday, March 30th. Just a Scrivener's error there. It says, it's listed as infrastructure agenda. It's the minutes. Are there corrections?
Motion to approve as amended.
I second.
Okay. All in favor say aye. Wow, aye.
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 Dot, aye. Davidson, aye. Okay, item three, discussion due and possible action to discuss landscaping improvements surrounding the county courthouse and annex. Charles?
We started on April 1st as we scheduled, and that was for the irrigation to go in. The target was to be finished by the 15th. I think we'll probably lose about a week there. So probably the landscaping will start about the 22nd of April, I would assume, and should all be finished by mid-May at the latest. No bumps in the road so far. Everything has been there that was on the plans where we expected it to be so far. I was hoping to have a lighting proposal by today, but although we've made progress on that, have identified, I think, some fixtures that will accomplish what we got to accomplish. I don't have anything back from the two different designers that I'm working with yet. We'll probably get something this week. So everything's moving along as projected.
Questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to accept report.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Davidson, second by Dodson. All in favor, aye. Wow, aye.
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 Dodson was an aye. Davidson was an aye. Okay. Item four, discussion due and possible action from staff on capital projects specific to TIF 2.
The first one's a roof replacement. We're about 25% complete up there, and the good news is we haven't found any deck rusted on the top side at this point. We know we're going to find something that it's not working. Is this better? Okay. As I stated on the roof project, we're about 25% complete. The good news is we haven't found any rust on the top of the decking. And we know we're going to find some when we get on further to the west, but the parts we were worried about on the east side, there are just some stuff on the bottom that the fireproofers will have to scrape off from the bottom side. So that's been good news so far. I got some pictures that the facilities took, actually, of the roof. Front end security, we've received some bids. Well, on one of those projects, not the front entrance specifically, but we're evaluating those bids. I've turned my recommendations into Chantel. She's going to be doing her review, and we'll have some recommendation for you maybe by the next meeting on how many of those we want to actually put through the test and evaluation cycle of that. And the 9th floor repurpose, Keith, have we started that northwest corner yet?
Yeah.
I'm just looking up here.
Materials are in place on the 9th floor, and framing should begin this week. That'll go fairly quickly up there. We'll do all the electrical in-house. We've got all electricians on days now, so that should proceed fairly quickly on the 9th floor.
Stacey, will you repeat what you said about you were working with Chantel on what? That's a
Window film.
on the, yeah. And when is that again that you expect to evaluate this?
I've already turned turn mine into her. She's going to do her evaluation, and then maybe by the next meeting, we'll have a recommendation for you how many companies we want to actually test their product.
Do you recall any total vendors replied? If not, it's okay.
Yeah, I think we had 8 or 9. It was a pretty good turnout, and some of them submitted multiple bids, different products that they have. And I cut it down to 5, I believe I turned into her. And we're really trying to cut it down to 3 or 4 finalists.
As you're preparing to have those companies come in, what would have been a sit-down meeting, probably allow you to actually touch, feel, et cetera. What are our plans now in the stage of meetings?
We were actually going to go out to the sheriff's training site and break some of that glass.
Okay. So that may still be.
Hopefully when the quarantine period's over, I'd like to still do it.
So you're given that, then we may be waiting until May, June.
I think we're better off to wait and really test the product as opposed to rush through that project, in my opinion.
And the vendors are all, I assume that the vendors would be coming.
We haven't really talked to them, since they've turned their bids in.
Was there anything in the bid documents that would have specified us to make a decision by a certain date?
No.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
No, sir.
If not,
No.
Sergeant Baum, is there a motion?
Motion to receive report.
I will second.
Motion is second to receive. Black, aye. Dodson?
Aye.
Halsey,
Yeah, aye.
Miles?
Aye.
5, discussion of the possible action regarding the capital improvements list.
No change.
There is a change.
Oh, there is change, okay.
As it relates to the elevators and the elevator shafts in the courthouse. Some time ago, we had damage done to the C elevator in the courthouse. That's the southwest elevator by itself there. Inner doors were damaged and bent. Kone was able to straighten them, and it's working, but I've got a proposal from them to replace the elevator doors, and it approximates $8,000. We need to move on that one. And then also some time ago, I had spoken to you regarding the elevator hoistways in the courthouse, the ledges, horizontal beams and ledges that need to be, they're saying either ground or shields put in place so that no one can stand on them and so that debris doesn't collect on those surfaces. Talking with Kone just a little bit, and then also I've got a contractor or two that's come out to begin looking at this. I don't know how soon the state elevator inspector would give us any more trouble here, but they've certainly threatened to shut the elevators down if we don't make some progress here.
Okay, so on the shields or dams, et cetera, you don't have a cost yet on that.
I don't have one yet. We're in the process, but you need to be aware that this is going.
And then, so the 8,000 for the elevator door replacement, which now's a good time to do. Do you have that within your budget?
I'll look and see, but I've fronted so many projects here with what I've got going on. I'm afraid to pledge anything more.
And then someone help me out. The line item that we have within the capital budget.
You're sitting on 300,000.
We still have the 300,000.
Yeah, we have. I was going to suggest that we pay for the tenting in the elevator shafts. It's going to be required on each one of the flat runs, and probably pay for this elevator door.
It's a perfect time to do this. I think the work can be accomplished during the day, so we can take advantage of the day rates that Joe Nay charges us rather than an overtime figure.
Now's the best time to close down some elevators is right now when nobody's using them. So
Yeah.
the question is, how quickly can they get to it, and how quickly can they get it done?
Okay. So, Miles, are you referring just to the door replacement, or are you also talking about the tinting on the ledges? So
Both. Both.
Okay. And my question, kind of on the Miles' question, with regard to the price on that tinting, when do you expect to have that?
Hopefully this week.
Okay.
And if we're in a position to move quickly.
Well, I don't want to issue a blank check.
No, I know.
So if you can get those, and we need to have a special meeting just for that purpose, I'm perfectly willing. I think these guys would be too.
Agreed.
In the meantime, I'm willing to go ahead and have a motion to authorize the door replacement utilizing funds from the capital project allocation set aside for this group.
That would require
I'll make
DOC.
that motion. That makes you feel good.
Or have
Second the motion.
A recommendation. Yeah, okay.
So, Joe, how do you feel about, I know you don't want to do a blank check, but how do you feel about approving expenditure up to like $40,000 for the tinting?
Let's wait till we get figures in, I think.
Yeah, Miles, within 48 hours, we can have a meeting.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with that either way.
Let's do that. Let's do that then.
Is there a budget board this Thursday?
There is.
So you have to move the money from one line item to another in that meeting, or have a special budget board meeting to get all this done, right?
It's not in it though.
Well, it's in an unencumbered account, but don't you have to create a line item for specifically?
It is,
I
has
don't
its
know.
own line item.
I thought it had its own line item for,
And you could just spend straight out of that line item? That's a question, I don't know the answer.
I'll find out.
I get the impression, after speaking with one contractor, that this is a substantial job. They'll have to be working inside the elevator shafts throughout the entire building, and there are some 100 and some ledges like this.
Yeah, now's the best time.
Yeah, it is. That's fine. Okay, so whatever we need to do to get
Get the money
the
in the right spot.
$8,000 encumbered to repair the elevator doors. Whether that's, we have to have a specific line item created in budget board or just a recommendation to the DOCC. And we could do both. Certainly make a recommendation to the DOCC that they do this. We get that on for Wednesday still. We have time. And we still have time for a Thursday agenda item. We could go ahead and put that on, work with the clerk's office, put that on to move that money. And if it's not, the item's not needed, we can strike it. So, Stace, can your office take care of those two things?
Yes.
That would be my motion.
Second.
Okay, Blau is an aye. Dodson,
Aye.
Davidson, Miles, are you an aye?
Yes. Aye. Sorry.
That's okay. And then is there anything else on item 5? Stacy, if you'll, we need to fix the list.
Okay.
Update the list. Okay. Is there a motion to receive the report?
So moved.
I'll second. Blau, aye. Dodson, Davidson,
Aye.
passes 2-0. Item 6, discussion, review, and possible action regarding the TIF 2 and TIF 8 budgets. Any action on this item?
No action.
Okay. Item 7, discussion, review, and possible action regarding the ongoing space utilization plan.
Chantel sent me an email that her space was successfully completed on the first floor. And then I know we're working on 5.
Yeah, their purchasing is already been relocated to their new offices. We have begun the openings, creating the openings from the snack bar on the first floor into what was purchasing. We've begun doing some demolition work in the snack bar in the courthouse and on DA civil space. Walls are up, framed, drywall, tape bedded. We've got woodwork that's taking place, cabinetry going on now. Carpeting and other flooring has been ordered. Lights are in, and I think we'll meet the June 1st, June 30th deadline.
Any questions of Keith or Stacy?
Hey, Keith, what was that last part?
Just want me to repeat myself. I know you heard it. We'll finish DA civil, I'm expecting by June 30th, by the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, great.
All right. Hearing no questions, your motion to report. Miles, was that a motion?
Yes, sir.
I'll second. All in favor, Blau, aye. Dodson? Charles? Are you there, Charles?
I'm so sorry. Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Okay, passes. Item 8, discussion, view, and possible action regarding annex temporary floor relocation to include the roof drains and the annex decking, roof decking. We heard we're about 25% complete. Do you have anything else or on this?
Yeah, I've got a change order I'll be bringing you to correct some of the upper part of those roof drains to make it all the same size and take the kinks out so they'll be ready to slip line in the future. And the roofing company is going to be able to do that for about $30,000. And I'll add that to our TIF project.
Where will that put us? Is this the first change order?
Yeah, first one.
So we're well within acceptable limits. Okay. Any questions of Stacy or Keith on item number 8?
Hey, I just noticed last week the mess that they were creating in the street. If they could just stay on top of that, that's the only thing I would ask. They got out there with leaf blowers and started addressing it later in the day, but it's good.
Yeah,
that
we've
nobody-
already asked them to try to have
walking
it cleaned
around
up by 8 o'clock when people start coming in.
Are we going to have to put anything up over the front entrance when that stuff's falling down?
I don't anticipate them putting up any scaffolding or anything like that, so we'll just have to change their working hours to where they can't drop anything off of there during the daytime.
They'll need to cordon off the sidewalk below when they work near the edges.
Yeah. Okay.
They've begun, if you are familiar at all with the roof, they've begun just north of the elevator shaft and are moving east across the roof in about a 30-foot swath. So it'll be some time, I'm guessing, before they get to the edges over there, but I'm sure they'll take the necessary precautions at the sidewalk.
Okay. Great. Motion to receive.
I think Miles made a motion to receive. Is that correct?
Second.
Yes, sir.
And I'll second. All in favor, Blau, aye. Dodson?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Item 9, discussion possible action to implement security measures at the county election board.
I have nothing. Miles was working on this.
Nothing new.
Okay, so no action on item 9. Item 10 is discussion and possible action to discuss restroom remodel and finishes in the annex building. They're indicating that there's no new
Nothing new.
information here, so no action on item 10. 11, discussion and view possible action regarding degradation of county roads caused by construction of the Eastern Oklahoma County Turnpike.
I can convey to the Turnpike Authority that the document they sent us, we didn't really see any improvement in that document compared to what we had already approved and sent over, and asked them what they would like to do as the next step, and I have not received any information back.
Okay, is there a motion to receive that update?
So moved.
Second.
Charles seconds. Loudon,
Yes.
aye. Dr. Aye, I believe. Davidson.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. 12, discussion view and possible action regarding the triple X Miles Just for You Steam Bank project.
Still awaiting the court's signatures on the 404 permit.
All right. Is there a motion to receive that update unless Charles has anything?
No, I'll move to receive.
I'll second. Well, aye. Dodson.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
13, discussion view and possible action regarding health and safety inspection at the Oklahoma County Jail. I have not received anything from Mr. Matthews and Mr. Gus, so no action on item 13. 14, discussion view and possible action regarding mold remediation, steam valves, HVAC system repair, and the maintenance plan at the Oklahoma County Jail.
We began work on those steam valves. That's happening right now as we speak.
Remember that we have an air handling unit that works in conjunction with the ventilation system that we just replaced that needs to be repaired. Those figures came back at $127,000 for a complete replacement of the air handling unit, or a figure less than $10,000 to repair the lower motor housing and unit. I reached out to Danny Honeycutt to see whether or not he had anything in his budget. I've not heard anything back from him, but the contractor's asking, where do we stand here? We need to move on this one.
I'll follow up with Danny with you too. Okay.
What's
Anything
the
else?
disparity between the two prices? I mean, 120 for new and 10 to make it work?
The new air handling unit is complete with casing, housing, coil, controls, associated ductwork. The repair value is to replace the housing, the sheet metal pieces and parts, the motor, the blower, the belts, and the drive assembly. So quite a huge price difference.
Yeah.
And really, the coil is in good shape. The housing itself doesn't need to be replaced at all. It's just a box, or the associated ductwork.
So and what I'm hearing is that the 10,000 would be a good fix, or should we spend 120 and replace the whole thing?
No, the $10,000 is the way to go. That's a good repair.
And is that a solid bid, or are we going to have to come back and $10,100 or $9,900? We have an exact amount.
Yes, the contractor gave me an exact figure, and it's just several $100s short of $10,000.
Okay. We haven't heard back from Honeycutt of whether or not they've got that money in their budget.
I have not.
I'll get, if it's all right, pleasure of the group, I'll get with Danny, and Keith and I will get with Danny.
Okay. Yeah. And I just thought that this might be another one of those things to step in and get it done while we can, for our capital improvement budget. But whatever works. let's just get it done.
Can we just have it on our agenda for whenever we meet again to talk about the shields and the elevator shafts? That way, if Joe, do you think you could talk to Danny?
I think that Joe or Charles, I think the best thing to do would probably just be possibly recess this till later in the week. That way you've got every item.
Okay.
If you feel different, just speak up. But I just thought it might be easier
Okay.
to recess this one, and we may not get what we need by the end of the week. So we may just be recessing and closing this one. But
Okay.
either way, Joe, what are your thoughts?
That's reasonable to me.
Okay. So the second part of this item, Stacy and I have had extensive discussions. We've discussed it in this committee in the past. We've discussed it several places. That's about the maintenance plan. Stacy, is this where you envision talking about the county taking over maintenance and doing that and getting our building, our investment up to snuff and making some corrections that need to be made?
Yeah, I made that recommendation in a memo to you guys some time back that, you know, it's our building, the building's in transition to maybe go to a trust and so forth, and good timing maybe to address this issue of who's going to do the maintenance going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I know that we're certain about is I don't believe it's going to be the sheriff. I think when they leave, they're definitely not going to want to do maintenance. So I think we need to come up with a clear direction of either we're going to contract it out or we're going to hire somebody within and do it ourselves. Or third option is the same thing we've been doing unsuccessfully for 20 years, and that's give money to whomever is running the jail and hope they repair stuff.
So that last statement, I'm not to take from that you don't believe the trust can successfully maintain the jail?
Right. No, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm just.
Okay, I wanted to.
Thanks for clarifying that, Joe. Because yeah, it did
Okay,
kind of sound like step up in one there. I just want to make a clear path about the maintenance. I want everybody to understand what's going to happen, what should happen, and what we expect, and then let's just move forward. And you know, I think it would be we've got a great opportunity to plug in Dale Fry. The guy's got 25 years of knowledge in that building. We're always talking about institutional knowledge. If we could get him and he could hire, 8, 10 maintenance guys and get something rolling over there and start making some corrections and getting that HVAC system up and running to where it needs to be, the air circulation system, and start fixing some of these leaks and doing some of these things that he knows how to do. I think now's the opportunity and now's the time to get this done. I mean, the Corona stuff has provided us ample opportunity at the courthouse and to do some things there. But we've got a transition that's coming up that's providing us the ample opportunity to do some things that need to be done at the building. Now, the building won't be vacant. The building is very low in capacity right now. So we do have some sort of opportunity. We ought to take advantage. And I'm certainly open to suggestions of other ways than what Stacy and I have thought of.
I might be mistaken, Miles, but I seem to recall that Mr. Williams indicated that he was hiring, for lack of a better word, a maintenance director for the jail, which to me seems to indicate that the trust has some notion of maintaining the building. So, as with a lot of things related to this transition, we need an understanding, a better understanding from the trust and what it is they envision, I think, before we're in a position to move forward. But the last, and Cody, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Mr. Williams indicated that he was hiring that position.
And I think it was building manager.
Building manager is the term Cody's using. So I do agree, Miles. We need to get this figured out. And the building it'll be a lease, and there are a number of ways that maintenance can be addressed in the lease. And so I think some indication what the trust is intending to do. We can't have our employees reporting to a building manager for the trust. That they can't control our employees. That would probably be a definition that is unacceptable. So I don't disagree. I mean, I think we brought this issue of private maintenance up and a company to do this 2 or 3 years ago, and the price tag was exorbitant. So
If I recall correctly, the price tag back then had a lot to do with the updating all the items and bringing them up to standard or whatever.
right.
From my understanding now, several of those companies have come back and they're like, okay, we'll just take it over and we'll make those repairs over 5 years or whatever. So they've kind of pushed that cost off. I don't know, Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that about what some of those companies have said?
No, I think there's a definite difference between taking it as is versus taking it already upgraded. There's still quite a delta between the price. Which way?
Right. They've and they talk about spreading that, bringing it up to standard to move it out 5 to 7 years as far as that cost and that schedule of maintenance, and then taking over the general everyday maintenance. I think that's
To lower our annual cost of such a contract, they are open-minded to spreading it out, but that's a longer-term commitment from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's many different ways this can happen.
Well, and keep in mind, if the BOCC, I'm not going to speak for the trust, but if the BOCC is the one that might be contemplating some type of contractual arrangement, we're limited to the fiscal year. Now, we can obviously anticipate 5 to 7 renewals, et cetera. So if I'm a maintenance company and says, I'm willing to take it as is and do those upgrades myself, and the number's around $19 million today, maybe something. I mean, we've worked to whittle it down. Then the fact is, I'm going to pay a higher rate over an extended period because I'm putting those millions of dollars into over and above. And so there's risk for the company. Now, whether the trust can agree to something 5 to 7 years out into the future, I don't know. That would be for the trust and the trust council to determine. But the county can't do that. And so there's risk, and associated with risk, my good man here, Mr. Monroe, says you pay for risk. And so, Miles, I think we should continue to look at it. So I think we need some answers. What is a building manager? Is that just one position that's going to work with somebody's staff and try to coordinate without directing, et cetera?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, it's very similar to, I keep equating it to an apartment complex. You got the people that are going to do the big maintenance items, but then you got a building manager that's going to be the one running around changing light bulbs and painting walls, etc. So I don't know. I definitely think we need direction from trust.
Okay. All right. Anything else on item 14? I think continued discussion, Miles, is a good thing here.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? A motion to receive the update on item 14.
So moved.
I'll second. Blau, aye. Dotson?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Okay, item 15, discussion, review, and possible action regarding Wilshire Boulevard Bridge. Stacy?
Okay, last time I introduced the report, we'd just gotten it. I hope you had a chance to look it over. I've had problems getting it printed off on my printer, but I did, they give us about 5 options to look at. And the 5th one, which is to actually put the river back, lined up with our bridge, hold it in place. Clearly the most expensive. It's like double the cost of the rest of them. Plus, all your governmental agencies at the federal level would be involved in that, really pushing the time frame out, and they might not like your plan at the end of the day. And the way that river's moving and been moving, it may cause us to lose our road before we ever got that project done. So while it's probably the ultimate fix, I'm not real comfortable with it, neither is the consultant. So some of the other options, which are the trench fill idea, are the ones that they're leaning towards and that I like as well. Particularly alternate 3 is the one that sticks out to me. But the trouble is the right-of-way situation. You go out and you buy a strip of right-of-way, before you get that project done, the river may have went past your right-of-way. So there's no option that is perfect in this situation or scenario. But just to brainstorm some ideas, maybe we, and I don't know how much money the district can put together, but you buy that farm and then when you're ready to construct, you construct it wherever it needs to be, and then you sell the farm back at a later date instead of trying to buy a strip.
Well, Stacy, probably, alternatives 1 and 2 are something that we discussed on site when we were out there trying to fight the river during the flooding. So, those are certainly possible. What we could never identify was, I think you and your staff thought maybe an additional 30 feet would be necessary, right away.
Parallel to the
Parallel
roads.
to the road there. I too, probably after, going out when Dave was there, listening to him, probably favor, alternative 3 as well. It would allow the farmer to continue to farm over the top of that until such time as the river actually got to that point. The problem in all of this, at least, unless it's worked itself out, is that land and who can or can't sell, or who can or can't give easements, is unclear at this point, because it's tied up in a trust issue, and a state issue. So I think probably we need to circle back. I can certainly ask Brian Jasper to contact, he knows the family that owns the land, and try to get some clarity on that issue and come back and discuss. My hope would be that whatever we are able to end up doing, that we would qualify for some type of hazard mitigation. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Mr. Barnes has included this project in our latest submittal. I'm not 100%.
I think the status is we don't have a current presidential declaration, and you don't know when and if those will ever come.
That's correct.
So
But it has to be in the plan first, and I think
it is in the plan. You got that correct. Another thing I liked about number 3 is I think some of our in-house forces could do a fair amount of the work to get that cost down, and what we'd actually put out to bid would be less, and you can get at it quicker. You don't have any of the federal agencies involved because you're far enough away from the river.
Not in the river.
So that puts the time frame back in our control. And I think it's the only chance really to to whip that river at this location and keep it going under our bridge. The alternatives 1 and 2, if the river gets that far, that bridge is not gonna
And the other
place.
The other thing, I don't believe that these cost estimates, at least if we run parallel to the roadways, there's some utility relocation costs that would be borne, and probably part of those would be on the county, and there might be some where they're located within the current right-of-way that would be borne by whatever utility company. So that cost, and then the right-of-way itself, like you mentioned. It might be, obviously we want to pursue donations first.
Always.
The most likely chance in my mind to get a donation of right-of-way would be alternative 3. Because the farmer would continue to have land in which to farm. So I think the first step is for me to have Brian get with the family and try to figure out where they're at in the process of the estate.
Okay.
And then Miles needs, or not Miles, sorry Miles, I was thinking you'd still be 2 for a second. Charles needs to look at the budget, because this is a 50-50.
Yeah, there's the dividing line between the 2 districts.
Between the districts.
Joe, I'm more than willing to commit the second district's funds to use that.
What's that, Miles?
Yeah, I'm more than willing to commit the second district's funds to that project.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Hey, no worries. I'll do the first district too.
Okay, so any other questions on item 15?
Hey, so just the basic stream bank armoring is just completely out of the question? Or are we looking at too long of a period for the feds to prove it?
I think you're looking at way too long of a period for federal improvement. Look at what's happened at Triple X. You may get way down the road and they pull the plug on you. And that river's so wild right there, I don't know that you could line it and it not go around you. That's kind of what happened the first time we did that at this location.
It'd have to be something you would line all the way back that eastern.
You go a long ways.
That all the way back up and around, similar to the way we did Luther Road in District 2. We went way past what we thought we needed.
We went about 4,000 feet, and that was a good thing we did.
Yeah, and I think that's, I know it takes longer, but I think ultimately it would be the best. Because the way I keep looking at the way that option 3 is, digging the ditches and filling it with riprap, essentially, covering it back up,
You end up with the same final product, just in a different location.
you're sacrificing tons of land. You're still creating an issue for that bridge. I mean, you're letting the water come further to the east, where you're going to direct it more parallel along with the road and a more perpendicular hit on that bridge. I mean, I don't see that as, I'm not the engineer, but that bridge obviously isn't built to have the water directed straight at the wing walls on the east or on the west side of it.
That's true. I've actually done a programming resolution to add a span to that bridge sometime in the future, past this project, but that will help. And it'll move an opening to the east.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be the minimum that we would have to do, would be to span that bridge at least additional. But I just don't see that any of those options are ideal. It's not an ideal situation, but we've got to do something.
Yeah, this is probably in some ways a tougher location than Triple X.
The optimal solution is to put the river back. That was the last, other than holding it in its current location, armoring it there. The optimal solution would be to try to put the river back to where it actually lines up with our current bridge opening again. And Miles, you have a good point about the amount of land that may be lost under item 3, but given how hard it has been to work with the Corps to get them to come on board on the XXX, that's why I think option 3 is the best solution available to us.
I mean, the course changed directions quite a bit. I mean, we'd still be laboring along with XXX if it hadn't have changed directions and released some of their stringent guidelines and stuff. Because the way XXX jumped the past 2 years was nothing like what had been done the previous 4 or 5 years before it that had been shut down. So, I mean, I think a wise thing to do would be to run 2 of them at the same time. I mean, I don't understand why we wouldn't want to look at a rechannelization and an armoring of the backside, as well as option 3. I mean, is it going to cost us any additional money to file for another 404 permit to do a rechannelization and an armoring of the wall? Probably, but is it worth spending $1,500 to see if we can get that one done and save 20 acres of lost land from that farmer? I don't know.
Well, you're spending, you'll have to pay double the engineering cost to run 2 different plans. The other thing the engineer said that I haven't told you is this river is going to lengthen itself. That's what's going on with these curves and stuff that it's putting in. And if you straighten the channel there and armor it, it's just going to lengthen somewhere else. So you're going to, on one of your other section line roads onto the east, you're going to create another situation.
So by straightening out a river and armoring the sides creates an issue downstream?
Yeah, that's what they're telling me. This river is going to lengthen itself one way or another.
I would tend to agree with that. I would love for an engineer to say that in a court of law, especially since they straightened it out and armored the river downtown, creating a problem in eastern Oklahoma County. Yeah, I agree.
Our neighbors in eastern Oklahoma County would love that. Yes. So anything else?
Oh, it's an unfortunate situation that we just got to do something about. So.
I think we find out that they're a right-of-way situation. That'll help us make the final decision. Then we can get back to the engineer on what plan to pursue.
Stacy, do you mind to try to ascertain what utilities might be in that area that we might have to deal with?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to receive the report on item 15?
So moved.
Second.
Miles seconds. Flowers, aye. Dodson.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Aye. It passes 3-0. Board comments. Charles?
None. Thank you.
Miles?
No, thank you.
New business? Any new business for the group? Okay, and I believe there was some discussion about recessing to a date certain here.
Yeah, do we think we can get that the figures we need before? I mean, Keith said he could, right?
Talking about that.
Yeah.
I'll just best I can.
He says he'll do the best that he can. So as it currently stands, we've got the one recommendation that we do on the 8,000 to the VOCC and or the budget board, whatever's necessary there to make that happen. We can recess or we can call a special meeting. Either one.
Yeah. If we recessed, we'd have to do it before, possibly. Well,
This is such a specialized type of work. This is such a specialized type of work. It may take some doing to get contractors in here. that will give us reasonable pricing, so. With that in mind, you might just call for another meeting when we have
Okay.
it.
Sounds good to me. Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Well, aye. Davidson?
Aye.
Dodson?
Aye.
All right. Everybody go? Okay. Being past 10:15, call the meeting of the Public Buildings Advisory Committee to order. Notice meeting was properly posted Thursday, April 9th, 2020. Item 1 is to set a date, a time, and a place to reconvene this meeting in the event of technical difficulties lasting longer than 30 minutes. Is there a motion?
I'll move 1:30 today.
Okay.
Second.
Miles, second. Blau is an aye. Dotson?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Item 2 passes 3-0. Item 2 is approval of minutes of Monday, March 30. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve minutes.
I will second.
Okay. Blau, aye. Dotson?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. 3, discussion of possible action regarding emergency management's continued and potential expanded use of the Kraus Shop Building. Keith, just an update.
Nothing new there.
No action unless there are questions?
No.
No action. 3. 4, discussion of possible action to receive a report from TAP regarding the building envelope of exterior investors' capital building. We took out exterior project.
Nothing new there at this time.
Okay. No action on 4. 5, discussion of being possible action related to investors' capital building exterior building envelope project.
Again, nothing new there.
When's the submittal for downtown design?
That,
Did it occur?
I'm not certain if it did or not, and I've not heard anything back from the on board one way or another.
All right. Motion to receive that quick report. By me.
I'll second.
Okay, Blau is an aye. Dotson?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
6, discussion of being possible action related to the repair and replacement of the roof and the HVAC system at the election board ACOG building.
The HVAC work continues, and if you'll recall, we transferred $940-some thousand last PBA meeting from reserve into Lincoln Capital, so we can encumber that for the roofing contract. You'll see that on the agenda next week.
Off the top of your head, where's our reserve at now?
The reserve at this point was $5.3 million.
And what other anticipated expenses do we have? Big ticket that we still need to pay for?
That would be the building exterior of the ICB at a $1.9 million figure.
Okay.
That would reduce the roofing project and the exterior project would reduce the reserve by more than half.
Okay. All right. Any questions on item 6? All right. Motion to receive the report.
Also move.
Second.
Blau is aye. Dotson?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Item 7, discussion of being possible action related to the repair of the floor at the election board ACOG building.
Nothing there.
No action. Item 8, discussion of being possible action to receive an update on properties and projects under the authority of the PBA.
Lincoln, we've talked a little bit about the roof and the HVAC. ICB, nothing new with the exterior we've just discussed. However, interior, and as it relates to the drug testing on 5, I've had a discussion with Jim Kedro, I believe is his name, about how they intend to stagger people into the building on the first floor. They're going to try and separate them in the hallway at first. If that doesn't work, we will put people in that old office 103B. There's room to adequately keep maybe 10 people in there separated. That will be at play here if the hallway thing doesn't work.
Yeah, mine is, it's working really well this morning, so
I have heard this morning. So,
thank you.
Metro 1 and 2, we're power washing over there. The homeless have created some problems, but we'll continue to cleanse.
Motion?
Motion to receive report.
I will second.
Well, aye. Dodson?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
All right, board comments. Charles?
None.
Miles?
No, thank you.
Is there any new business come before the PBA advisory? Seeing none, motion to adjourn.
No move.
I will second.
Well, aye. Dodson?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quiet, Keith.